they either got worn out by pulling the trucks, or they ate what the firefighters ate and they just got fat. Okay, so orders were made on 2 new vehicles. They arrived in 1915. Motorized ladder number 1 arrived in 1918. Okay, so I'm gonna get ladder 1 motorized. We're gonna put that over here. Put that here, and I'll take this. Okay. So that was ladder 1. The other 2, where do they put them? Oh, motorized engine 2 arrived in 1915. Here you go. Ba-ba-da. I'll take this. And you still get, okay, I see what you got. All right, so Chief Johnson's goal was to motorize the whole fire department, which he did. All right, so company number 1 was replaced in 1919 at Moody Street. Dun, dun, dun. I'll take this one, right, this one.
Easy, buddy.
All right,
Okay.
and
Oh,
I got
still
another
have a steam
fire truck here. Where did that go? Oh, so all the stations had, not you though, because they really didn't use that. What station is that? That's closed. Nice try keeping it open. No, you're good. Here you go. Give me that this whole thing here. Does everybody have a truck now? A couple trucks? Okay. So his goal was to make the whole fire department motorized. On March 1st, 1919, box 241 at 12:22 hours was struck for a minor blaze at the Cantor residence on the south side. Okay? It was started by children playing with matches. Isn't that how the most of them start? You start fires with matches?
Cigarettes.
You like that? All right. So, this was an end of an era. This fire was the last run for steamer pumper number 1 at Moody Street. This is the last time a hose-drawn fire truck responded to a fire in the city of Waltham. What a sad day, huh? They were beautiful animals, these were beautiful pieces of equipment, but that, in 1919, was the last time that ever happened. Both of those pumpers, get one over here too. Both of these pumpers, 1 and 2, they were sent to museums. One was sent to a museum somewhere, and another one was sent to Edinburgh Railroad. One of them came back, engine company number 1 came back, and I believe it's at the museum next to the river.
It is.
It is. Okay, that's the Museum of, Charles River Museum of Industry, right.
Yeah.
That's where that pumper is now, engine number 1. It's a beautiful piece of equipment. Should be here, right?
Yeah.
All right. In 1942, the new engine 3 station was built on Willow Street. So, school there was no more. Willow Street opened up with, hold on, I get you a fire truck. Oh, it's not. All right. So that was 1942, engine 3 was built, okay? And I'm going to give you an older truck. Pretend this is an old truck, because I think I ran out. All right, so brand new station on Willow Street, engine 3's quarters, where Kenmore Street is. Everyone knows where it is? By the way, that 3 that's on the front of the building,
Yeah.
that lights up at night with the red around it, I made that.
Yeah.
Toward the end of my career, I went down engine 3 for a couple of years, and it was too, I didn't like it. So I went back to Moody Street. But while I was there, I made that 3. And I didn't like it, not because of it was too slow, it was because Bentley University, which they responded to, set off an alarm every single night at 2 and 3 in the morning.
They still do.
These kids do not know how to cook. All right, so,
Do you think we could do something with that?
and what else was built?
Maybe students turnover.
So I got a new station there, oh, wait a minute.
Buffet.
No, not yet, Lake Street wasn't built yet. Oh, so anyways, engine 3 that was built here, that was the first new fire station built in 50 years. Do you remember when the last station was built? Moody Street. So 50 years ago, Moody Street was built, and not for 50 years did they build a new fire station until they built the one on Willow Street. This is around the time during World War II. When people came back from the war, they hired a lot of World War II veterans in the fire department, and they built some more fire stations. The community was getting bigger, and the neighborhoods were popping up everywhere, right? Prior to this area, this time, there weren't a lot of big neighborhoods, like Warrendale was just starting to be built. Rangeley Acres was just starting to be built. The house that I grew up in was built in the early 40s. And my mother and father paid $3,500 for it. So, not to mention, the north end of town, Lakeview and that area, they just weren't there yet, but they were coming. So, in 1948, they bought 3 new fire trucks. One went to engine 3. So, you keep that brand new truck. I'll keep this old truck. And they put a new engine 6 over here. Here you go, to replace one of these. And what else? Oh, these trucks pumped 750 gallons a minute. These new pumpers. In 1950, a new station was built on Prospect Street, and they were given a truck that looked just like that. Now, the original Prospect Street Fire Station was on the corner of Russell Street, which that vacant lot is right now.
Yeah.
And they built it right next door, where it is today, next to Vernon Street. Okay? And that was another 750 gallon pump per minute. Then a new station was built. They bought a new fire truck, and they needed a new station. So they built one up on Lake Street.
What year?
1950. Lake Street's up in this area of the woods, right?
Yep.
Here's your fire truck. What are you, Moody Street?
Yeah, it's not
All right, you're kind of downtown, so. Now you're on the south side. South side and the Lake Street area is right next to each other, right? All right, so in 1959, 2 new 1,000-gallon per minute pumpers were purchased. One to replace engine 5. That's good. Oh, I give you this.
You may take it.
Well, just pretend I replaced engine 5 over there. And at Moody Street, and the other was assigned to a brand new fire station in 1959. Where was it?
Trapella Road.
Trapella Road. And we just so happen to have a Trapella Road fire station. We'll put this way in the outskirts, way over there. There you go. Let me get you a truck. You can't have a fire station without a fire truck.
I need a truck.
Here you go. Really? Who? and then he went to fire prevention. Yep. All right. So, that was 1959, and also a new aerial ladder was bought to replace, it replaced the ladder truck. And then they took this ladder truck, which I'll take here, and I'll bring this over to Engine 8. This old ladder truck went to Engine 8 as a spare for Moody Street. That was a spare for you. That's a pumper, but Lieutenant's a ladder truck. An old one. They replaced the horses with an old Maxim. Did I mention this earlier? They replaced the horses with an old Maxim truck that pulled that ladder truck. Back when they were motorizing everything. All right, also in 59, that was that. In 1964, we're getting closer. In 1964, the municipal fire station was built.
Oh,
Austin Roads.
Huh?
Wasn't it named for Austin Roads?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it was. He was the mayor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lived up.
The Austin Roads Municipal Center, which included the new police station, which you're in the old police station right now. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
New fire station and the municipal garage. At the time, the municipal garages, I believe, were on Pond Street.
Yes.
So everything was moved to this new center over here. So here we got Central Fire Station. Yeah. Lexington Street Station is closed, Central Fire Station is open. What do we got? All right, you got it. Good call. In 1974, Chief Edward Cloonan, okay, so he achieved his dream for a rescue truck. It was something that he wanted in the city, and he settled for a compromise. He had a 1974 American LaFrance.
76 or 74.
I think it was a 74, or maybe that's when he wanted it. Probably got it in 76, but it was an American LaFrance pumper, but it was custom made with extra cabinets on the truck for rescue rescue tools, which included the Jaws of Life, which was made by the Hearst Tool Company. And in this area, it was also renamed from Engine 6 to Squad 6, because it was a rescue squad now. This thing's gonna be so out of whack when I turn it on. So, it was called Squad 6, and Mike was on it. At the time, all the gung-ho guys were on this truck. Hand-picked officers, and pretty much it was always a hand-picked type of thing right down the line over the years. The Hearst tool that we had, the Jaws of Life that we had, was the first one in the greater Boston area, really, at least west of Boston, and that truck used to go out of town for car accidents a lot. It would go to Weston, go to Lexington, would go to Newton, and then other communities picked them up as time went along, but that's fine.
And that original Jaws of Life was down at the Jaws Museum.
Oh, was it really?
It was like 10 years ago when I was down there.
Oh, no kidding, okay. And boy, was it loud.
Oh, was it heavy?
It was heavy and it was
2 or
loud.
3 of us loud.
76.
76?
It was my dream as a kid to be on Squad 6. And that dream came true. I started out at Moody Street on Squad 5. Oh, let me bring it forward a little bit. Eventually, in the early 80s, I think, they got another Hearst tool and put it on the south side, because in case of trains or whatever, if they needed a Jaws on the south side, they put it at Moody Street on Engine 5, and that became Squad 5. So I started out on Squad 5, actually. I don't have my thing here. But I ended up, I was asked to come over to Squad 6. I was an auto mechanic at the time. I had some automobile and body experience. So I thought it might have been a good idea if I was on a truck that took cars apart. I don't know. Plus, I really wanted to be on that truck. It was my dream. As a matter of fact, when I was a kid, my bicycle was always red, and it was always Squad 6. All right, so, and here it is right here, Rescue Engine 6. This was my helmet.
Put it on.
Central Station. So you get a chance, you can come up and check out, you can feel the difference between my first helmet and my other helmet's under that. I'll get to that in a second. All right, so now we've got engine 8's open, right? Where are you? All right, let's get to the modern stuff. I'll pick this stuff up. So Squad 6 was ultimately replaced by Rescue 6. Chief Kia wanted a rescue truck, and he wanted a walk-in rescue truck, and the compromise then was that to keep a water in a small pump, it came with a small tank and a small pump for small fires, and that was basically just to protect themselves. But that was our first heavy rescue, was Rescue 6. In 2017, I think, they got a brand new super heavy duty rescue, which is at Central Station now, and that is Rescue 1. The chief of the town, I think it was Saccone, instead of calling it Rescue 6, because this is the only truck that we have that is just like this, he designated it as Rescue number 1. And it's a nice piece of equipment, it's got everything on it. Airbags for lifting heavy objects, like trucks. They're rolled over onto things. Numerous sets of different type of cutting tools, rams, search and rescue tools, everything they need. So, engine 3 at Willow Street, that's their truck, modern type truck. And engine 8, which is over here, right? Engine 8 and the ladder, the spare ladder. I don't know if they still keep them there or not.
Yes,
Do they?
that's where ladder 3 is.
Ladder 3 is at the Pelham Road Fire Station.
Yes.
All right. Ladder 2 is at Moody Street. Right now, it's a tiller job. It's like a tractor trailer with a tiller in its back, but they're getting rid of that. I heard they were going to a straight job, right?
E1 Boston Metro. Yeah.
So Boston has proved that you really don't need a tiller to get around. We've always said that you need those special trucks to do this, to get around corners and down side streets and narrow streets like we have on the south side. But Boston has got tighter streets than we do, and they've proved that that's really not the case. If you know how to drive the truck and get around things and you don't mind hitting a car or two, you can get to where you need to go. So Squad 5 is here on Moody Street. This is me in the picture. This was my last day on the fire department. Was on my replaced. I'll take this. So when I first started, like I said, I was on Squad 5. So my last day, it's a tradition that if you live in the city, you can get a ride home on the fire truck or drive the fire truck home or whatever. And at the time, I was in the car at Moody Street, C2. So what I did was, hey, get that back to the fire station over here. Take it over to you.
Come on.
It's not a handsome picture of me. All right, so I chose, instead of driving C2 back to my house on my last day, I chose to drive the same fire truck that I started with. And so I got in the truck and I put my wife Denise, who's right there, and my 2 boys, who were a little bit younger at the time, standing in the back there. And we drove from the Moody Street Fire Station to my house on Bennett Street. And
In record time.
Huh?
In record
Oh,
time.
yeah. And there were 3 fire trucks following us, C2 and the chief's car. It was a parade going to my house. And luckily, for me, C2 didn't lead the way, or the chief's car didn't lead the way, because I got to fly. We were flying. It was my last time driving a fire truck, right? So I made a lot of noise.
No.
Not used to.
No.
Made a lot of noise, pulled up in front of my house, and somebody handed me a bottle of champagne, which I proceeded to spray all over the place. And somebody gave me a big cigar, and the chief at the time, Chief McGinnis, came over and lit my cigar. And that was the end of my firefighting career after 33 years. It was pretty cool. It was a nice day. So here's the rescue truck at Central Station. Let me take this out of your way. All right. Here's engine 2, also at Central Station, so I'll get one of these old fire trucks out of here. And this one. Oh, I got an extra engine 2. You want an extra engine 2? Oh yeah, it's coming. Here's the ladder truck. Ladder 1. All right. So remember we talked with engine 7. Lake Street. Here's your new engine 7. And I believe when we started this discussion earlier, we talked about where everything is right now. Everyone's got new fire trucks? There you are, it's the Waltham Fire Department. And that's how we got here. Now, I have some, hold on, I got some other stuff to say. Sorry. The tower? That's at Central Station. The tower guy. So the ladder truck, the ladder truck was the first ladder truck to replace a tiller job was ladder 1, and you were on that. No, you were on 6 at the time. Huh?
I was on the straight job, yeah.
You were on, okay.
Rear mount.
Then that went to a tower. It was a rear-mounted tower.
Mid-mount tower. Mid-mount tower.
Right,
The first one was a rear mount, 110 foot.
right.
And then
Oh
we
yeah,
went to- then we
the
went
first
to-
tower was 110 feet. Then when we went to a tower, which is a platform,
Yeah.
they call that a tower, you can stand in it and it goes up and you up there and you're looking down at everybody. And then they're on the second one of those now, right? Okay.
Don't they have a boat at Engine 8?
Oh, there are boats everywhere. There's one, not at engine 8, there's one at engine 7, engine 4, Moody Street, and Central. I think the ones at Central and Moody Street are really nice inflatable
USS
boats.
Tomato.
Huh?
USS Tomato.
The Tomeo on Moody Street, named after Captain Tony Tomeo. And he couldn't drive a boat to save his life. All right, so the Fire Prevention Division has grown to include the deputy chief, several lieutenants. The training division is a deputy chief, a captain, and I think maybe another lieutenant or whoever else they need at the time for, depending on what kind of training they're gonna be doing. And there are currently 2 ladder trucks, 8 fire pump trucks, including SWAT 5, 1 heavy rescue, which is in Rescue 1, and multiple other vehicles for fire prevention and training. And 6A, which is a pickup truck they keep at Central Station. They use that to deliver things around to the other stations. And if there's a fire that they need more equipment, that they can deliver it. Fire alarm was established in 1881, which is this building up behind here. It's on Church Street. So in 1881, they established fire alarm, and they moved all the stuff from Spruce Street. Well, actually, they moved the stuff from Spruce Street. Did I mention that earlier, that that's where the first fire alarm headquarters was?
Yeah.
They moved that to Moody Street. When Moody Street burned down, they moved it back to Spruce Street, and in 1881, they built that building over there, and everything was moved over there. When you pull the firebox, it would come into that station, and it would go ding, 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 because it would ring out the box that was pulled. And the fire alarm would send that signal to the stations. And at the time, you'd have to listen to the bells, and just by listening to the fire box, a number, for instance, box 411 would be bing, 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 bing.
Oh, gee.
Then you listen to that, and you would either know that you had to go to this fire, and you look up where that firebox was, because you didn't respond to an address, you responded to the box itself. This is back when they were using them for fires, okay? And then telephones came into play. Then two-way radios came into play in, I think, it's, 1940, I'll get to that. So, did I tell you, yeah, I talked to Timmy Kelly. So from 26 boxes, it went to 2,000 around the city. All right? The first box, the very first box in 1881 actually, that was pulled for an actual fire was box 18. All right, it was pulled by a police officer for a chimney fire. And box 18 is Newton and Oak Street. So, if you live in that area on the south side, that's where the first box is pulled for an actual fire. The auxiliary fire department was established in 1941 due to the war effort. There were threats of potential bombings in this area, Boston, big cities, and they were part of the state and federal civil defense. They were put together for, to help assist the fire department. And they currently maintain a lighting plant, do you have a spare fire pump?
Not anymore.
Not anymore? And a state-of-the-art air supply system. There's a couple of guys here from the auxiliary fire department over here, and that's what they do. They meet once a week, I think, right?
Wednesdays.
Wednesday nights, right? They're housed right now inside this fire station, original Lexington Street Fire Station, the original one. That's where they're housed now, and they're a big help at big fires, just filling our air bottles and providing light that at night especially. We don't use a lot of lights during the day, not anymore. Unless we're down in the basement.
Do they have fire trucks in that?
They do. Yeah.
How many are in there?
It's volunteer.
What do you have in there now? Lighting plant
Lighting plant 2 in the air supply
and
unit.
the air supply unit.
And Bernie now has a retired cruiser as the emergency management.
Is Bernie still the chief?
No, he's emergency management director,
Oh, okay.
but we share that car.
Oh, you're the chief,
Captain, yep.
captain. All right. In 1940, a two-way radio system came into play. All right. At the time, there was one at fire alarm, at the main one, and there was one in the chief's car and one in the deputy chief's car. That's all there was for communications as far as radios go. Then they started to put them in all the fire trucks. Probably in the late 60s, maybe mid 60s. In the 70s, all the fire trucks had them, but the portable radios that you see the guys carry now, there was only one per truck. And the officers used to pass them on to the next officer coming on, and then they would charge the battery, and then make sure they would charge up, and they would pass it on. And then, I want to say, that's the way it was in '86 when I came on. Just the officers had radios. Then, everybody had a radio. Well, there was a radio assigned to every truck for every person. And you would pass your radio on to the next guy. Then eventually, in recent years, now everybody has their own portable radio, which is pretty cool. You're responsible for it. If it gets lost or broken, it's on you, not somebody else. You'll always have it in case somebody, nobody can go home and forget to give you the radio they were supposed to give you, because that's happened. Everyone has their own that they're responsible for, and it's a good way of communications. Everyone is in tune with everybody. They do a radio test every morning on all the trucks and all the portables. We used to do them once a week, on Wednesday, but then that went to every morning. What else do I have here? That's that. Does anybody have any questions while I set up this? I got a few slides I'll show you guys. Anybody have any questions? There's another picture of that. Oh, this is the wagon that has the hose in the back. There's a group of Waltham firefighters right there. Aren't they handsome? What are you laughing at? All Waltham firefighters are handsome. Here it is, the same engine. This is engine pumper number 2. This is in front of the fire station next door. You know how I can tell? This is the Lexington Street Fire Station. Now I can tell? Because Moody Street Fire Station was next to the church. This house that's over here is no longer there. It's those buildings that go from the other side of the fire station, where the auxiliary is, to School Street. That's where this house was at the time. Here is Chief Johnson's This is the first motorized fire vehicle in the city. And you can see in the back here, this was a chemical tank and a water tank. That's why it was called a combination fire chief's car slash extinguishing unit. That's Chief Johnson in the white helmet, looking proud as can be. And his driver at the time was Robert Johnson. Go figure.
When was that taken?
This picture was taken in 1911. It was called a Rambler Automotive Combination. Note the chemical tank and the fold-out seat. This here is ladder number 1. This is the first ladder that was motorized. They used a Maxim truck engine tractor to hook up to the old horse-drawn ladder truck on Moody Street. But this is the first self-propelled ladder truck. This is ladder company number 1. This was kept down at the Lexington Street Fire Station. This here is the old engine company number 1. This picture and this picture are both being demonstrated at an event that was held here in Waltham in 38. So they pulled this fire truck out of storage or a museum or whatever, and they had some sort of a demonstration. So I could have told you that this was from back in the day, but it's not. Matter of fact, you can see a real fire engine, a motorized one over here. This is the first set of boxes, fire boxes that we had in the, oh, thanks. You guys get to see my watch? Here you go.
Sorry.
On the back side is the engraving of the engine pumper and engine 1. These are the first 26 fire boxes that were put out there. If you can see box 18 I mentioned earlier, Newton Street and Oak Street. So that would have come into the fire alarm office as bong, 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 1-8. That's how you had to count the box numbers, and that's how you knew where you were going. So that's where that chimney fire was, that the police officer pulled the box. Now in modern times, this is Central Fire Station today. Okay, you got, this is, I think, here's Tower 1, and here's Engine 2, and Rescue 6 is also there. I think I got a picture of the rescue here somewhere. Here's Engine 7 up on Lake Street. Oh, we got some Lakeview people there. All right. This is ladder 2 from the south side. What, no south siders here today? They're all in the bars. All right, here's ladder tower number 1. I'm not sure if this is the current one or the previous one. Is this the current one, Mike?
That's the current one. It looks like it's the current one.
Yep. How high does this go?
I think that's a 95.
95. So you can sit in this bucket back here and go up 95 feet, which, believe me when I tell you, it's high.
Right, wow.
Engine 8 up in Trapella Road, and ladder 3, I guess the north end is over here. Engine 8. Oh, your dad worked there, right? Somebody's father worked up at Engine 8. Who was it? Oh, over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lake Street.
Yeah, oh, Lake Street?
And both.
And Trapella Road?
And Central.
And Central? She's all over the place.
And Moody.
All right. So, okay. Here we've got engine 3. This is my 3 that I made. Here's that pickup truck that I was telling you about. I think that's it. Is that 6A?
No, it's C4.
Oh, this is the new C4? They use that for, is that the thing that, Jimmy, oh, is that his car?
Safety car.
Oh, no kidding. All right. Well, 6A kind of looked like that. Engine 3 is called the Warrendale Warrior. I don't know if you can see that across the top. Here's the old Moody Street Fire Station. What a beautiful building. Here's the new Moody Street Fire Station.
Yeah.
You can see where it was attached to the old Moody Street Fire Station. Go back to, no, you can't see in that picture. This picture here, you can see this building over here. This was long gone. Here, right here was a chicken restaurant. Wings Express. We needed a parking lot, so we burnt that down. And then there was a big building on the corner there, that was taken over by the city, and that was demolished to make room for this new station goes all the way to the corner
Yeah.
of Maple Street.
Isn't there a dentist on the building?
There was,
Yeah.
yeah. This picture here is just to show you the no snow days and firefighting. This picture here, so this gentleman, this old timer right here, his name is Steve Kolodziejski. Standing right, can you see the pointer?
Yeah.
His name was Stephen Kolodziejski. He retired in 1986, which just happens to be my first year, after 42 years of service. He was one of the World War II retirees.
Oh, wow.
He was one of the World War II veterans, and I believe he was the last one to retire from that era. And sitting right here in front of him, right in the middle of the picture, that's me.
Oh.
That was my first year on the job.
Oh.
And 100 pounds later, so this was my first year on the job. This here was my last day on the job. And as you can see, the guys I worked with, they came up with the idea to recreate that photograph with, where is it? So see how everyone's standing with this one? So everyone, these are the group of guys that I worked with on my very last day. And that's it.
Yeah.
Any questions? What was that?
It's a fire whistle.
Oh,
I have one for you too.
oh. Life wouldn't be complete without a fire whistle.
That's right.
Any questions about anything? My life at the fire station or? Yes.
How many female firefighters does Waltham have?
Right now, 2, I believe, right?
They just hired the second.
They just hired a second one, right? Is she on the job yet?
They started last week, but they go to the academy next month.
Okay, so there's been one for a long time, only one,
No, Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa. And she's a great firefighter. She can pull her own weight. She's not the biggest person in the world, but she's strong and she's tough. And the funny thing about Melissa is she's married to a hairdresser. But she's the firefighter, he's the hairdresser. I think he became a firefighter, right, didn't he? I think eventually he became a firefighter up in the community where they live, or a police officer or something. And, but I guess there's another one going to the academy, so it'll be the second female. What?
No, not you. I'm just trying to find Ron. I'm sorry.
Ron,
There you go.
you want it over here.
I just want to make sure you were here.
Any other questions? Yeah. Make one up. I don't care. Jay.
I got a story from the early 80s.
All right.
Me and my buddies were up on Upper Moody Street, walking out of a bar late at night, and we walk up to the Moody Street station on that side of the sidewalk.
Were you one of the guys that wanted like this?
Alarm goes off, the doors open, a pumper leaves. We're watching the ladder come out. Just as it gets near the tiller, the door just drops 4 feet. Hits the door, smashes the windshield, the tiller windshield, and luckily the driver stopped right then, so it didn't
It was
hurt.
Franny Stanton, I believe, wasn't it? Was that Franny Stanton that got hit?
Yeah, and I don't think he got hurt too bad.
No. Those,
It happened to
when that happened, there was a new tiller box, which was it was made of steel
Yeah.
and very strong. Prior to that, it was just a seat and a windshield, so that would have been a whole different story. He would have ducked or whatever, but the box, the steel box, just go plow right through it, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
but that was an exciting thing to see.
Very exciting.
Going in time.
Yeah, yes,
I just wondered if any of the fire stations still, the firefighters use the pole.
yep, absolutely. Moody Street Fire Station and Central Fire Station and this one next door and the wires department over here. They built that also. There's a fire pole over there too.
That they use.
They used that as a, like an auxiliary fire. Matter of fact, when they rebuilt the Moody Street Fire Station in 1988, I was transferred from, my truck came over here and ran out of this station, 27 Lexington Street.
Actually, Steve, too, that was engine 6's house.
Yeah, okay,
2 and lot of 1 were there,
right,
engine 6 was over there.
Engine 6, Chemical 6 they called it at the time. Yeah, so they were by themselves over here. And so we took over that station when they were rebuilding the Moody Street Fire, they were refurbishing
Yeah.
it. We were there for a year and a half, I think, and then we went back to Moody Street.
The other question, the auxiliary, is that part of the fire department even called?
No, I think it falls under civil defense.
Civil defense?
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
It falls under the fire department.
But
Okay,
it's
so now it
volunteer?
falls under the fire
Is it
department.
volunteer or it's?
Yeah, it's volunteer, the guys, they get together on Wednesday nights
Okay,
and
it is volunteer,
Yep.
but under their.
it's a club type setting. I mean, great bunch of guys and they're very helpful when it comes to fires. We have probably on the fire department now, at least 10 guys that have been auxiliary firefighters,
Okay.
right?
Including the chief.
That includes the chief. Chief Mullen was an auxiliary firefighter.
3 of them started last week.
And 3 of your auxiliary guys
3 of
started?
my guys just went.
Did Brock Rollins kick it on?
Yes,
Nice.
he's one of the 3.
Good, good. So, right now, it's kind of like if you want to get a taste of what the fire department is all about and everything else, you join the auxiliary, and they show you. They train down at the drill yard. They don't have the pumper anymore though, huh?
Unfortunately, no.
There was a time when I won't even get into that. Any other questions?
But we had, when I was on the auxiliary before the fire department.
Oh, you were, okay.
We had engine 20, engine 21, and
Yeah, right.
22.
Yeah.
And we responded to second round fire.
Oh, did you?
Great idea.
That was in the 70s.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
volunteer fire department.
I got our staff do that now, total.
On the fire department,
Yeah.
about 170. That includes officers and staff and, I don't know how many fire alarm operators there are, but the fire alarm operators, in fire alarm that used to be over here, when they went to the 911 system, those people transferred over to the new 911 building, and it became a combined fire and police dispatch center. So we lost our actual fire alarm operators. They all became emergency 911 operators, EMDs.
Steven, so when they did that in Newton,
Yeah,
they combined
yeah.
engine 2 to fire alarm, silence. Engine 2 to fire alarm, silence.
Why?
Engine 2 to control. Yes,
Oh,
sir,
Newton
what can
control.
we do for you? They hated it.
Oh, really?
Absolutely hated it.
So there was a time when Newton controlled the whole area. It was a,
Metro Fire District 13.
right, we have this thing called mutual aid. Now, the guy isn't standing out in the middle of the street with his staff saying, nah, the Lord.
Yeah.
We've got this thing called mutual aid now where if there's a fire in another community, we will respond to that community, an adjacent community, sometimes further on, depending on the size of the fire. It's called mutual aid. And what he's talking about on Newton Control, they used to control all the mutual aid dispatching at one time. Now, I don't know,
Boston.
Boston does it now?
I guess Newton didn't want to pay
Oh,
some
okay.
fee a few years ago, and they said, we'll fine, take it.
All right. So that's our mutual aid system. And like I mentioned earlier, we love going out of town. Sometimes we like going out of town, like we would go to Watertown, take over their fire station while they were fighting a fire, and if the timing was just right, and they had just put their food out for dinner. Oh, yeah. They would come back to
Nothing.
nothing. But that happened to us too, you know. Thank you.
How many people responded to the Nuttings fire?
The Nuttings fire? Nuttings on the Charles. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Anybody old enough to remember Nuttings on the Charles? Really?
Many people.
So that was, it was on Prospect Street, right
Yeah.
at the river.
Bridge.
The bridge, Prospect Street Bridge, going over the Charles River, and it was on pylons. And it started out as a nightclub type of thing. It was a dance hall, then it became a canoe club underneath, when the dance hall was there. It's the same era as the totem pole down in Newton. And then that closed over the years, kind of like Wallach's closed, people just got
It was storage area, Park Snow.
Park Snows.
Yeah.
Park Snows had all their stuff in there, and that's when it burnt down, and it was a fire.
Yeah.
You can see it for miles. I've seen photographs of it. The history of fires in the city of Waltham is a whole other thing. There have been a lot of them, a lot of big ones. There might be photos around here.
What was the cause of the fire at Colonel School a couple of weeks ago?
I think it turned out to be vagrants, because there's no electricity up there.
Yeah.
It was at night, so it couldn't have been like sun beaming through a window. The mice and the rats stopped playing with matches years ago. And my guess would be vagrants with trying to keep warm. But it's still under investigation, I don't know. Questions? Anybody else? If,
I got one last question.
yeah, Mike.
Who's your favorite roommate?
My favorite, no, when I went from Moody Street over to.
Denise.
Now we know.
Hey, of course. Come on, Mike, you set me up. So when I went from Moody Street, asked to come over to Central to work at Squad 6, Mike wasn't in my group yet. So I had my own room over there, and then Mike transferred he was on Squad 6, and he transferred to our group to work on the ladder truck, right? And the only open bed in the fire station at the time was in my room, so I let him come into my room, even though he was on the job for, 15 years before I did, right? Anyway, so, yes, sir.
What was the largest fire Waltham ever had?
The largest fire Waltham ever had was on Elm Street. It was just recent times. When
Oh, yeah, on the construction, yeah.
Remember, the building hadn't opened yet. They just finished building the building down there on Elm. And that was the biggest fire that Waltham's ever had. Now, it was definitely set, because I think it started a couple different areas, and they have videotape of people walking in the building, but nobody was ever caught. And they started all over again, and they rebuilt the whole thing exactly the way it was gonna be done in the first place. They just did things differently as far as fire watch and prevention goes, meaning there was water in the building before. Yes,
So after that fire,
yeah.
one of my brother's friends lives in Pine Street,
Mhm.
and he was telling me that he saw somebody walking around in the building.
Mhm.
So, being the nerd that I am, I called the hotline.
Oh, really?
When I got through talking to them, I set that fire.
Oh,
They-
yeah.
The questions and the
Oh, yeah.
things. and the
Oh, I bet.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're lucky you're not in jail.
I know. But my son called me at 4:15, and the only words out of his mouth was, Elm Street's burning.
Oh, it was.
And I was
That was
there.
my group.
Yeah.
That was my group working that day, but I was on vacation. And as much as I love firefighting, over the years you kind of lose interest when you're not working, or you just get lazy. And I got up in the middle of the night to, do my business, and when I get back to my bed, I saw that I had a text. So I picked it up and I looked at it and I went, what? 4th alarm fire on Elm Street. So my house on Bennett Street faces south, so I looked out the shade and the sky was glowing. I went, and then I looked at my phone again and it said 8th alarm. I said, Denise, let's go, there's fire. So for me to say that, because a house 2 houses away from me would be burning down and I would stay in bed. But, so for me to say, Denise, she just jumped up and we went down to Elm Street, we stood in the middle of the ball field and watched it burn. And that goes back to what I said earlier, that fires are the world's leading spectator sport. There was 1 million people there.
So I live 1 block up on Taylor.
Yeah, there were fires up there too.
Well,
Embers were flying all over the south side.
there was the thing, the wind changed.
Yep.
Those blocks would be gone, including my house.
Oh, yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
quick it was just everywhere.
We had fire trucks all the way from Boston, Cambridge. Wellesley was here, I think maybe Devon. Who?
Weston.
Oh, Weston, of course, Weston was here. You know the Weston Fire Battle?
I
I grew up in Weston.
Oh, did ya? Oh, cool.
I should have taken a picture because there was a Winchester engine on Lake Street.
Oh, really?
And
I
also,
never took
I'm
a
a
picture.
fighter from Thingsville, Wisconsin.
Oh, nice. There you go. See?
Yeah, we live the other side of Brandeis.
Yeah,
Amber's would be down there.
really, all the way over there. Wow. What street?
Robert's Road.
Okay, Roberts Road. Engine 4, by the way, on that area, Engine 4 on Prospect Street, that's the busiest truck in the city. In case you were wondering, they've got a big area, and they have a downtown area. Felton Street, Charles Street, the hospital area. And they also go up into the projects area up until, I think, Dale Street. So that whole west end is protected by Engine 4 on Prospect Street, and they're the busiest truck in the city.
What's the quietest one?
The quietest, it used to be Engine 3 down on Willow Street. They used to call it the retirement home. But not anymore. I think the quietest now might be Engine 8 because the Fernal School closed. On Trapella Road. The Fernal School closed. That was a busy place for the Engine 8. And there isn't a retirement home, so to speak, anymore in any fire station because we all go to medicals now.
Okay.
There was a time when we didn't do medicals, we did fires. That was it, fires and car accidents, and cats and dogs and trees. Okay, but now, the majority of our work are medicals. When I started on the job in '86, well, I'll go back a few years. When Mike, you were one of the first EMTs, right?
Yeah.
So at the time, there's probably 5 EMTs in the fire department.
Wasn't many, huh?
Probably 5. And then when I got on, I added to that, and I was probably one of 10. And then in the mid-90s, there were about 18 or 20 EMTs. At the time, we did a survey through the International Association of Firefighters to see if it would be feasible for us to operate our own ambulance service, like you see other communities do. And the reports came back to us that it wouldn't be fiscally, the money wouldn't come in because of the clientele here in Waltham, unfortunately, who utilize the EMS system a lot, don't pay the bills. They don't have insurance and they just don't pay the bills. So we kept it as a private ambulance company, does all our EMS service now. But we still respond, nowadays, there are EMTs on every truck in the city. I would say the majority of the whole fire department EMTs now. A lot. I don't think I think they're all EMTs now, right? Just about. Some of the old timers probably aren't. But most of the fire department are EMTs. We've got paramedics, we've got registered nurses on the fire department. I say we, they. But that's the majority of our calls now is EMS.
Engine 1 was the slowest company last year.
Oh, Engine 1 was?
Yeah, 1,058 runs, Engine 8 had 1,181.
Oh, so they beat them out?
Yeah.
Wow. So Engine 1 is on Moody Street.
Yeah.
Wonder why?
Bet you still keep
Small
all busy.
section.
Yeah.
Oh,
Quad 5 section is a lot bigger than.
yeah, Engine 1's got a smaller area.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Engine
why.
1 kind of overlaps into 4.
Right.
Going that way, so 4 is up.
What was that over here?
Bentley keeps them busy.
Yeah, yeah.
Still.
I hate Bentley college kids. Anything else? What time is it?
Steve will be around for questions.
All right.
We're all gonna be-